Hey, Sycamore Review family and friends, here we are again, and I'm committed to trying to do these Tuesday, Thursday devotionals for a while. Today, I want to take you back to Luke chapter 5, one of my favorite chapters in all the Bible. My oldest son was reading this in his Bible a couple of weeks ago, and we sat down and processed it for a little bit. In Luke 5, you have this moment where there are disciples who they just been fishing all day. They didn't catch anything. And then Jesus is on the shore. Jesus gets in their boats while they're washing their nets, so they're done for the day. Jesus begins teaching, and then Jesus tells them, go back out there, put the nets into the deep water. If you're fishermen and Jesus tells you to go back out after you caught nothing, you may be thinking like, you aren't even a fisherman. Like, you're not even in my profession yet. You're telling me how to do my job. I'm sure you've had people do this to you before. But out of respect for Jesus, they did it. They went out, and the way the story goes, they catch so many fish. Nets are breaking, boats are sinking. And so Peter's the one who comes to Jesus because Peter knows something miraculous has happened. And Peter, at the time, Simon Peter, falls down before Jesus and says, get away from me, I'm a sinner. Peter knows he's in the presence of greatness. And Jesus' response was this: do not be afraid. From now on, you will be catching people. Do not be afraid. It's a command you see show up in the Bible more than any other command. Do not be afraid. From now on, you will be catching people. Now, here's what's cool. In Matthew and Mark, this is where Jesus says, do not be afraid. From now on, you will be fishing for men, fishing for people. But in Luke, it's a different word there. Luke says, do not be afraid. From now on, you will be catching people. It's a Greek word, zobreo, which literally means being captured alive. What Jesus is saying is, don't be afraid. From now on, you're going to be capturing people alive. And of course, Jesus isn't advocating for kidnapping. Jesus is, I think, giving an image and a depiction of what discipleship is all about, being fully captured by who God is. And the very next verse is that those apostles left everything they had. Those disciples, soon to be apostles, left everything they had to follow Jesus. In Mark chapter 3, verse 14, when Jesus first calls his apostles, the very first thing he says is, I want you to be with me. So when Jesus extends his hand to us, when Jesus gives us an invitation to come and follow me, come and join me, come and be a part of what I'm doing, and we say yes, do we know what we are really signing on to? So I want to encourage you, just a couple of things of what it means to be a follower of Jesus, what it means to be a disciple of Jesus, whether we're going through COVID-19 or not. I think there's a stirring in us that there's something greater going on in life than maybe what we've thought for a while. And as God's stirring in our hearts and as God is calling us closer to him, just consider a couple of things. I think these are reality in our lives right now. We realize that we are more distracted than anyone who's ever walked the face of the planet. We're super distracted. In fact, I'm convinced that more people they're more distracted than they are busy. We talk about being so busy, but really we're super distracted. There are distractions all around us. Number two, we're also some of the most exhausted people who've ever walked the face of this planet. So when it comes to being with God, we're distracted, we're exhausted. And God pressed this on me a few years ago and just saying, Josh, how am I going to speak a clear word into a distracted, exhausted heart? How am I going to speak a clear word into a distracted, exhausted heart? Not that anything is impossible for God, but sometimes I think we got to give God something to work with here. So I really care about spiritual formation and how we're being formed in God. And I care about the people we're going to be on the other side of this crisis. And because of that, I care about the people that we are allowing God to shape us into as we go through this crisis. So today, as Jesus gives us the invitation and calls us to follow him, let's take seriously what this means. Time with Jesus, a few moments a day where you attempt to limit distractions, be in the presence of God, and just see what happens.